Hello, LEGO lovers. This is L, and this is a ranking of all of the 2020 LEGO Advent calendars. So we have Friends, City, Harry Potter, and Star Wars. All four of them. Now, admittedly, I did unfortunately already take apart the Harry Potter one, but I do kind of have the figures and some of the printed pieces just as a representation because I'm not doing a full review. Check out the videos for those. This is just kind of a overview and ranking them to see how I overall feel they are to me. And maybe that will help you decide which ones you get, want, or just later on we'll be thinking about. So we have four of them here. Obviously, I just went down the list. They Harry Potter one and Star Wars one are $40, so they're effectively $10 more than the City and Friends one. However, that's kind of licensing, I guess, that you might say, but there are some additions to those I think that are pretty good. So, how should I start this? Let's go from the bottom up. I'm just sitting here kind of thinking. And I think the last place or fourth place, which doesn't mean it's horrible or terrible or bad, it just means that when we look at these four, that's the one that I'm kind of least happy with. And to be honest, it's a bit of a struggle, but fourth place goes to Friends back here. And that's really sad to me because I really like the Friends line, but just the builds feel unimaginative for something different. And there's a couple builds that are neat, like our penguin friend, and I like the spaceship remote control thing. The two elves are neat, but they're identical, which is a bit of a letdown. They could have done something different, even if one just was a red hat. The emotions on all the figures are pretty much the same, which is a little disappointing. Happy to get the pajamas, but a lot of the builds aren't really anything spectacular or special. There's no real good theme. It's holiday, but it's just, and like having a skateboard, just a skateboard might be a little bit of a letdown. Now there's play features in this one that's probably more in a way than other ones, like the snowball thing, but it's such a plain build. And to be honest, the extra pieces aren't necessarily that fantastic. There's some cookies, but yeah, it lets me down. It has the least amount of figures. They are mini dolls. Um, Things that could have made it better. Two different elves, even if it's just the hats, would have been great. A male or a female, or like I said, just something different outfit, hat, something. If Emma would have had a sleeping look or just waking up emotion on her face, maybe a more together type theme. The builds being a little bit more something. I mean, this is just a mailbox. Just feels a little weak on some of the things, or even some really rare parts or something. Just feels a little low on the end. The figures are great that are in there, except for the two that are identical. Some of the builds are great, but kind of a letdown in my mind, even though it is cheaper. So next up, which is going to be third place, and this one feels pretty tough to me. Um, hmm. It's really hard to say for me personally. It's gonna be. Uh, 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 um. Shoot. Wow. I'm really struggling right now because basically I'll put it down to this. It's probably gonna be one of these two, the City and Star Wars. And Star Wars costs $10 more, and there's a lot of gray, but there are some cool spaceship builds I do like in there. There's a couple figures that are pretty nifty, but now that I think about it, some of the figures are kind of just basic figures. They're not really special to me, I guess. If you don't have a lot of Star Wars, that could be something to you. Star Wars could be your buying point. Some of the builds leave a lot to be desired, I will say. Actually, yeah. And the extra pieces, I would say probably the extra pieces are the best in the Star Wars one, but it is $10 more. So I think I think I'm gonna go with the Star Wars one getting third, actually, which might be a little bit of a surprise, but like I said, this is my overall review, so that's up to me. So, I mean, there's some cool ships. This is a TIE Dagger, but it could have been a little better with some red. The A-Wing's probably my favorite ship build out of the whole entire, all of the builds. One of the things is the torsos. There's 2 torsos, but that's really all that's special about them. There's no special real legs or, face prints too much, although Darth Vader does look kind of happy. There's some cute builds that are neat. The Darth Vader castle is pretty cool. But Dio just gets a Santa hat. That's kind of, it's a Porg. Nice to get a Porg, but it's just a Porg. Like I said, some of the builds when in my review I went over and said that they could use a lot more. And the fact that then you tack on the $10 more here. And yeah, I think I can comfortably put it in third place. But let's go on to second place, or runner up, or honorable mention for first. I'm not sure. So that leaves us down to Harry Potter and the City one. And to be honest, I think you kind of might know already where I'm going to lean here. So second place is going to go to City. And the reason for that is that where it is, in my mind, a fantastic concept. I really like all the micro or mini builds of cars. The box is even great with the playmat that really fits with it. You have some unique figures with some hair and different pieces that I personally haven't seen before. We do have a Christmas sweater. The best built Christmas tree, I think, out of all of them that have Christmas trees, even though the Harry Potter ones are white, which is pretty cool. Just really cool builds here. Definitely a second place. You got your figures. You have a little built reindeer here. The extra pieces are kind of nice. I think the biggest highlight of the extra pieces are the little square pieces with like the money symbol or the police type thing on there. Just a really overall, I love that it's a very cohesive advent calendar. Everything you get is something that you can play together with, and I think that is a fantastic thing. Obviously, the figures can't necessarily play with cars, but I still think that's awesome. So you have the figures to add to your other sets, and you have a different concept that you could possibly build off of or enjoy as an individual little thing. And if you're getting it for kids too, I think there's a lot of play value, because there's all different cars and stuff. My only complaint is that if it's not as colorful as I'd like it, but that's just a personal preference. But I love that red hair piece. I love the little orange on that black hair piece. All the prints on the torsos are fantastic. And there's actually some leg prints, which is really nice too. So yeah, good contender for second place in my mind. So it is second place. And then last up, obviously, first place I give to Harry Potter, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and I do wish I kind of had the builds out here. A lot of the builds are really beautiful looking in my mind, and since they have the whole concept of the Yule Ball, you have one cohesive type of concept, which I think is great. You have the fantastic printed Yule Ball print there. Then there's a couple other larger prints that you have. And then, of course, you get your 6 figures, 4 of which are dresses, 3 of which I don't believe have been in any sets at all. I believe some more unique hair sets or hair pieces. And you even get Harry Potter or Ron back there. Different flesh tones, fantastic. And oh yeah, there's builds in the set too. I really like the dress printing. I do wish they had printing on the back. Even though this is a $40 one, I just think it's a really good advent calendar. Everything goes together. It's just great. I really liked it. It was the first one I built, and one of the things that I kind of usually happens is the first one I built is the first one I forget. But in this case, it was not. It was the one I kept thinking about, all those beautiful dresses that we don't get to see in, other lines, which I think they could add to, and they, only have done it with Harry Potter. which is fantastic printing, and like I said, just great. It's just a lot of stuff that pops out to me in my mind, even though it costs more. Definitely, definitely a first place here. Yeah, so pretty much that's the ranking. Friends is in last place, which is unfortunate to me. Hopefully that changes in the future. And then we have our Star Wars, and then as a kind of surprise, the City one coming in at second, and then first place is Harry Potter. And admittedly, I wasn't really sure how that was gonna go, because I do like the Star Wars one, but the City one, as I'm building it and just kind of looked at it more, I just started enjoying the concept more. And like, I want to see people make cities based off of this. I think that would be fantastic. It's a cheaper way to build a city and still get that city look. You don't need minifigures for it. You don't even need those micro scale figures. You can just have all the cars and planes, and you can have stuff going on. You don't necessarily need to have all that. So that's my ranking review of these advent calendars. I will say that this year is pretty good. Friends let me down a bit, I would say, but I do enjoy the concept with trying to do the elves and having a character with pajamas, which is something new. It's just that it would have been nice to have one more figure or some variety or some emotion, something to make it really stand out. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this. All these advent calendars. Hope that you get the one you want for your holiday if you can, or all of them if that's what you want. But thank you for watching. I do have all the reviews up on my channel already because this should be coming out after all of those. But again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic holiday season. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next video.